let's put everything into context. We're both talking about the great institutions of our democracy. We're talking about the constitutional document. And so General Mattis writes that there is a concern that the document's being threatened by the way we're using our military, and you agree with that, sir. Is that fair to say?
I would agree that the document is always being stressed when public officials, and that might be the military, could be police, could be a president, when public officials are coming close to the edge of the rule of law. Again, there's a tension in our government. It's built in. It was, I mean, the great wisdom of the founders. Again, I'm just a regular old American citizen that reads a lot. But the tension that's built in, the complexity of the government to slow things down. I mean, we can act very quickly as a government if we need to. Pearl Harbor is an example. 9/11, post 9/11 is an example. You saw us, I think, in the coronavirus. Once there was an acceptance that this thing was real and was going to whack us really hard, I think the government, the experts and the health experts stepped forward.
One last question on this, and let's move to something else that I know we both want to talk about. If you were the White House Chief of Staff and you were sitting in the Oval Office and there was an idea that they were going to use the American military or the National Guard to clear out peaceful protesters in Lafayette Square, possibly use a smoke canister or tear gas so that the president can walk to St. John's Cathedral and take a picture, what would your advice have been?
Well, let me start by saying that the job of a chief of staff is to run the staff, which I did, and to come up with the best options for the principal. In this case, Mr. Trump. But I was essentially the chief of staff, military chief of staff for Secretary Gates and Secretary Panetta. Same thing. So my opinion was less important. I mean, I would always give my opinion, generally behind closed doors. But my job was, okay, Mr. President, okay, Mr. Secretary, or when I was a chief of staff as a military guy working for generals, I'd say, okay, let me start the staff process on this. First step would be, on any decision or desire, would be, do you have the legal authority to do it? That was easy. You get the lawyers to come in and say, yes, he has the legal authority under some law to do it. Or, no, he doesn't, we gotta go to the Congress, okay? That then tells you which direction you're gonna go in. On any idea, you had to bring in the issue of, is this, I mean, always, is this good for America? One of the things I think an awful lot of people in Washington forget is that at the end of the day, they're there to serve America, not re-election, not the Democratic Party.
But was that good for America to do that?
I would argue that the end result of that was predictable. Again, it's still, the jury's still out on tear gas and who got hit, and I mean, again, but I would have argued against it, recommended against it, not argued, just recommended against it. But the President of the United States, I don't care if you like Donald Trump or you hate him, as the President of the United States, he deserves the best advice he can get from his staff, from his cabinet, from experts, so that he can make the best decision for our country. I think a lot of times the decision is who's going to win in November. And I think in terms of what's going on in the country today or the coronavirus, it's not about that. It's about America.